Hmm. Landmines. Why the subject of landmines? Because Russia has maybe 20 different types of landmines, which they're finding in Ukraine. And uh, booby traps. Uh, Bodies are booby trapped. Uh, Under rubble, booby trapped. Uh, when you're walking along, there are landmines. I mean, you have to have a straight path down a road light, and either side of that road can be landmines. And the Russians just put them in automatically. They occupy a village, and they just stick them anywhere. Booby traps or landmines. Farmers' fields. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, same thing. Why are we putting it in the middle of a farmer's field? To kill the farmer. Um, you got all your basically you got all your children out of Ukraine for one good reason because there are toys there to pick up, a little doll, a little teddy bear, and they're landmines or there's stuff or there's explosives inside um, toys or stuff. Russians loot a store, they leave booby traps back there. Well, yeah, maybe you can't walk into a room that the Russians have there because they booby trapped it. Um, they booby trapped the building. Um, as I said, landmines. Well, explosive devices. Um, During World War II, they made that very effective when they helped the North Koreans in the Korean War. They gave them a lot of, you could not charge the enemy's, say, hilltop without running into landmines. And when they were pushed north, North Koreans, north, um, the U.S. troops encountered landmines and booby traps and all the stuff that's there because there are a certain class of Russians there that do one thing. They plant landmines and they plant booby traps and you know yeah, that's what they do. They slaughter. And the old saying in Afghanistan, you ran into all this stuff. Wherever the Russians were once, you can find landmines. Even if it was just passing through a village, they would have a select group of people, military people, to go in your and plant and booby trap the place. So to kill Afghans, to kill that thing. Afghan was known for poppy fields. They would go out in the middle of a poppy field and plant landmines and walk away. And when the guys are out there harvesting them, they step in this stuff and poof. Yeah, nasty Russians, aren't they? But that's Russians. Yeah, we call the old Soviet Union. When they left the Eastern Bloc nations. They left a lot of landmines laying around, booby traps, buildings, landmines. Um, and now in the Ukraine area, it's the same thing. Go back there, yeah, that's the thing. And why? Well, um, they're the old-fashioned ones that you basically have to step on to explode. Um, During the Americans in Iraq and in Afghanistan, the Russians supplied Iran with landmines. Yes. To do what? To kill Americans. Yeah, yeah, it's your typical. Which shows they were extremely efficient because of the amount of Americans that were blown up. Thank you, Russia. Thank you, Iran. And you'd say, well, maybe we can bomb their factory. Well, their factory happens to be in Russia. You know, well, can't do anything. And that, of course, this would escalate the Ukrainian war quite a bit, which I presume sometime down the line they have said that this war is going to last 2, 3, 4 years. The Ukrainians are not going to give up their land. They want all their land back. They want the Crimean back. They want all that land back. And why should they? You know, and what they will run into is landmines, anti-personnel mines. Um, so that's one of the things about chasing the Russians. You're going to walk across the landmines, and it's a hideous little thing. Of course, during the say the American Revolution, um, there was booby traps put on both sides. Um, it usually was a small flintlock pistol firing into a black powder shell uh, military cannonball. And so what you did was to trip a wire and boom, instantaneous. In the American Civil War, both sides used similar devices using the flintlock pistols, the little derringers, firing into a shell. Yeah, cannonball shell. Yeah, because that's the one that blew apart. World War I saw it, and the Germans used that to defend their in front of their machine guns. I think they planted landmines, and if you try to run up to a machine gun, you usually stepped on a landmine. World War II, they were efficiently used. Yeah, both sides use them. Mostly Germans use them around their pillboxes, um, around their buildings. And when the Germans would stop at night, they put out booby traps. And when they went move on during the day, they left them in place. Whoops. The Korean War was the same way. The Vietnam War was the same way. What Americans learned to Korean War. Okay, there's a buffer zone between North and South Korea, and there are landmines there. So the North Koreans, when they go want to invade South Korea, they dig tunnels. Mile-long tunnel under the Korean wall, barbed wire wall. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Berlin Wall. Yeah, same thing. Russians deployed landmines between one set of barbed wire and another set of barbed wire. And if you walked in there, you tripped a landmine, poof. And when the Berlin Wall came down, a lot of that stuff had to be disarmed. Oh, we got to go back to Afghanistan. They did it toys, and as I said, the poppy fields and wherever the Russians moved through, they always left landmines and booby traps. It doesn't take very much to take a small anti-personnel mine, dig a hole, drop that in, and flatten out the earth above it, and somebody just walked along. Boom, they lost their leg, or worse. Well, you see a lot of Afghans on crutches. Yeah, they stepped on a landmine. Thank you, Russia. The Vietnam War, they first employed landmines outside the fence area, but the VC would go in there at night and probe around until they found something. They either removed it, changed the location on it, or pulled it out of the ground and used it against the Americans. As Americans go across the fields, they step on a landmine. Yeah, that's war. American got wise is to have a barbed wire around their camp, and then take landmines and put them inside the area, and then a little piece of barbed wire, a little fence, and that thing. So in between this area, which may be the size of a table, is where your landmines are. And when the Americans left, they usually blew up the landmines where they were placed. I say usually because sometimes those camps were overrun, and and you know, now the VC has a problem. But we go back to landmines in the Ukraine. As I said, there are 20 different types of landmines, and farmers have to watch their fields. Tractors have been blown up. Um, Farmers have stepped on landmines. If the Russians been there, you almost 100%. They have planted landmines. They have uh, have bigger bombs planted, so when the person steps on it, it doesn't explode. But if a tractor or a car or something like that rolls over it, it will explode. It's like the mines. If magnetic fields. The same thing if you're driving down the street and you stop at a stoplight, that little strip underneath your roadway is a magnetic field. Your car gives off a magnetic field. The same thing the explosives that the Russians are putting out. It's on the same concept. If you drive a car over it, it explodes. If you drive a tractor over it, explodes. But if you walk on top of it, it doesn't explode. You're not setting off a magnetic field. And the Ukrainians, well, are they using this stuff? I would think if they're demining an area and they don't explode the mines, they're waiting for the Russians to come back. Now, the Americans' mines are really electronically different. They're still here, but they have microchips in them. And when the Americans put out these mines, say around an encampment, and they're preparing to leave, they have a little computer devices, backup computer devices like that, and they put in a code which basically says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say up to 50. Boom, 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 boom. Each one of these records an explosion. It goes from green to red, and when it hits red, it explodes. And if it doesn't go off, then somebody has to physically go out and pick it up. And these are all mapped out on a computer, GPS, what have you, so you know where everything is. Because nobody really wants to go out and demine a field. I wouldn't want to do it. And the United States spends $200 million a year demining uh, landmines that the Russians have put out around the world, or the rebels have put out around the world. Yemen, when it's done killing each other, and they're using landmines all over the place from Iran, somebody's going to pay for that to demine a farmer's field. Guess who? Yep, 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 yep. Awful. And are we employing this stuff? No, no. While we have it, not we don't want to. We don't want to give something to the enemy that they can pick up the codes to de-arm the stuff and then rearm the stuff. Do we trust the Ukrainians? Yeah, but as this one says, we're not giving you landmines. Nope, nope, no, 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 no. We don't want them. We don't want them to be used against us. We won't give you the codes. We won't give you electronic landmines. Nope, because hey, you want a source? China still makes them. Iran makes them. Russia makes them. Yeah, Russia makes them. North Korea makes them. I'm quite sure there's if I'm not mistaken, there is a one in Cuba who makes them. Oops a daisy. Goodbye.